Well, thanks for joining Local 3's podcast, Breaking Ground, where we discuss all things labor, labor history, politics, and organizing as it relates to the largest construction trades local in North America, Operating Engineers Local 3. Please download and like our podcasts on YouTube. You can also find the audio-only version on oe3.buzzsprout.com. So thanks for joining us today. Today's show is going to be special because we have a Local 3 retiree here from Sparks, Nevada. So he came all the way from Sparks to the Sacramento District 80 office where PR is, and his name is Dennis Griffith. And he joined Local 3 back in 1961. So, Dennis, thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. And I joined Local 12 in 61 and transferred into 3 in 73.
73.
So I got over 50 years up here and over 12 years down there.
What was it that made you want to make the change from being a Local 12 member to Local 3?
A catastrophe that happened down there, the Sylmar Tunnel disaster. It killed 17 of my friends, 2 of my best friends, and the rest of them was a crew that I worked with. And after that, my life changed, and I wanted to get away from there. And my folks was living in Reno, and so I moved there and was lucky enough, fortunate enough, one of the best things that ever happened to transfer into Local 3. It just worked out perfect for me.
Now, the Sylmar Tunnel is located where? Where was that located?
Sylmar, California.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a formative experience in your life. So moving to Reno, that's when you joined Local 3.
I transferred up here after that, yeah.
Okay. And how did you get into this industry to begin with?
It was just luck. I had a friend of mine that came from Utah, and when I was a kid, I started driving truck, but I was between jobs. It was farm community stuff, and he was working down in Oxnard, and I went and seen him, and he got me a job starting as a laborer there, and then they helped me get transferred into Local 12 down there in December 1960. I think my initiation date was February of 61.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of years ago, huh?
Yes, it was. And I understand you worked in the field mainly as a crane operator. Talk about some of the projects you worked on and what being an operating engineer meant to you at that time.
Well, one of them right here locally was Arco Arena. I did that one. And then up in Reno, I did both Circus Towers, both Nugget Towers, one of the Sands, one of the Atlantis, just about all the high rises in Reno except for the Silver Legacy. I didn't do that one.
So you were on a tower crane for some of those, right? Way up there.
Tower cranes on, about several of them. And some of them was tower cranes, some was crawler cranes, and some truck cranes. I did them all.
That's a pretty big job, something to be proud of. Those are just main fixtures. I don't remember life without those existing. So you were part of that.
Yeah.
Being a tower crane operator it's a very stressful job. Can you talk a little bit about sort of that, that everything kind of rests with you? And
oh, yeah. It's a different story because when you first start doing it, when the first time I climbed one, I started up there and it was rocking back and forth. And I thought, man, I got to get, another guy was running the crane at the time. I was just learning. I said, I got to get up there and tell him this thing's broke. But you get used to it, moving and, yeah. I enjoyed it, but it does take getting used to.
Well, and just making the climb up the tower, you have to be so fit to do that every day.
Yeah, well, and as the building went up, then they jacked the tower cranes up, and then you didn't have as far to climb, because you started out at about 180 feet, and then after that it got closer and closer. Yeah. But I made a lot of trips up and down those ladders.
It keeps you in shape.
Yeah.
So what has being an operating engineer meant for you when you look back on your career?
Oh, because they were smarter than I was, and they've got us a pension and insurance. And that's what's made me and my wife live a good life after we retired. And I've been retired for over 25 years now. And it's just... And I never thought of that when I was young. That's what I mean. They were smarter. The union was smarter than I was, for sure, because they got that for me.
Because otherwise we wouldn't think to put money away or to set money aside for retirement.
No. And see, they did that with vacation pay, for insurance. And boy, insurance would absolutely kill you if you don't have it.
Health insurance.
Yeah, and then the pension makes life enjoyable, where you don't just retire and sit in front of a TV till you die or something. You get to keep doing the same things you always did.
Well,
I'm still riding a Harley every day.
Oh, that was my next question. Now, you've been retired since the 90s, right?
90
So what do you do? 97. So what do you do?
Well, I still do ride my Harley every day, just about. And I got a buddy of mine that had some a bunch of antique motorcycles, and we go over and work on them. And we're putting a 1948 Indian back together now. But
that's worth some money.
yeah,
I would imagine.
yeah, and he's got some of his dad had. And he's kept them all. He's kind of a hoarder of motorcycles. Yeah, he's got a bunch of old ones like that.
So you go out there and fix those up. Do you travel?
We used to a lot on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when my wife used to go with me all the time, but when she turned 70, she quit. I can't figure it out.
Maybe she's smarter.
Yeah. That's what she said.
So you're out there, fixing up motorcycles, and what else do you do in your retirement?
What else do? I don't know. Working on them, like I said, I spend a lot of time over there at that, and just about anything I want to do. We traveled a whole lot for the first several years after I retired. Made a trip around the whole United States, hit almost every state too.
Was that in an RV or?
Pardon?
Did you use an RV to do that, or?
No, we just stayed in motels.
All along the way, wherever you wanted to stop, you stopped.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a beautiful experience.
Yeah. Oh, we made the whole trip around till we was in Texas, and we decided we wanted to go home. And the next day we drove all day long. You couldn't get out of that damn place. It was still in Texas.
Texas?
Yeah.
Now you have, I think you said 4 children?
Between me and my wife, yes.
Are any of them in the industry?
No.
No. When they were growing up, how did you explain to your kids, what you did as a career?
Well, they all done pretty well, and I wanted them to do what they wanted to do, and knock on wood, they've all done well.
Probably because they've seen their father and mother, work hard and kind of teach those values to them.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about, how did you meet your wife?
Oh, she worked in the union hall.
As a secretary?
Yeah.
So you come in and pay your dues and...
Yeah. Well, I'd call her and talk to her, and she would do things for me because I worked out of town a lot. When work was slow in Reno, I'd come over here to the Bay Area or whatever. And so she did a lot of things for me, and when I went up to take her out to dinner for it, and it just went from there.
That was it?
Yeah.
So she's also, was on staff then of Local 3.
Yes, yeah.
And she's a member of the other union, so.
Yeah, Local 29.
Okay. Yeah. When you were in the field for all of your career, what has changed in your lifetime now between the way it was when you started and the way you retired? You mentioned the Sylmar Tunnel explosion. So there's been a lot of, safety improvements made to the industry. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. The whole industry's changed a lot, and the money's changed a lot too. But I don't know all of it has just changed tremendous. There was no apprenticeship program when I went in, and now then we're training these guys better than you used to have to learn from your older people that was doing it before you. And in a way, I guess you still are, but we have classes for it. It works much better, I think. The locals have just got better and better, I think. And like I said, they think ahead for us. They made life easy for me, and I didn't even know they were doing it. And I didn't understand about the unions very much when I first joined, and that's one reason I would like to think that all the younger guys that get in should go to the meetings and they try to get introduced and know your business agents and your officers, because when you know them, you can talk to them, and if there's something you don't like, they're willing to listen to you, and you can help change the things. If you know a better way to do it, we're always looking for a better way.
Now, I know you're still pretty active in the union, like you go to the retiree meetings, and is that...
Yeah, I go to the retiree meetings, and I still hit some of the other meetings, it was so good to me. I feel if I can help do anything, it just makes me happy.
What's some advice besides getting active in the union that you'd give to current operators out there? Because it's a tough job, right? I mean, it can be dangerous. You're long hours away from your family.
Yeah. Well, all I would say to any of the union, always remember that we got to try to do the best work so that our union can get more for us. And we're all kind of, we want to make the contractors money, and the more money we can make for them, the bigger cut we get out of it. So, yeah, always try your hardest, whether you like your job or not.
And maintain that skill level so you're the chosen people to do the work.
Yeah.
And the training programs have helped that.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I think.
Yes.
What's some advice you could give to apprentices? I know there wasn't an apprenticeship program when you got in, but for the young people that are just learning, they might feel like giving up. They might think this is too hard. I can't do this.
Yeah. Well, more than the schools, they can teach them a lot more than I can. But when you're in the field, try to pick the knowledge of the people ahead of you and tell them you're willing to listen if they tell you that you're doing something wrong, because I always wanted to help the younger guys all I could, and I think most of all the old operators did. They didn't try to keep it to themselves. They tried to make sure that the next guy could do it, because we want this union to go on forever.
And that's very important, right? Because holding on to that information doesn't help anybody.
No.
The ability to teach and instruct and help only protects the union that exists.
Yeah, because when you get out in the field, you're going to continue to learn more all the time, because the jobs change. They're so much different today than they was back when I joined. We didn't have hydraulic hose or anything like that then. We dug ditches with clam buckets and drag lines, and you just got to keep learning and moving with the industry, because everything is better now. The equipment's better, the safety's better, and we just want to make sure that the operators stay better.
What's your thoughts on the current state of politics as it affects unions?
They try to destroy unions, for one thing. That's a big thing.
The decision to come after unions is always an end game for certain coalitions, and I think this administration is no different.
Yeah.
So it is important, would you say, for our union members to be involved in the political process to protect what we have?
Yes. Yeah. There's so many people that want to do away with unions that it's just unreal. And we have to do what we can and vote. Make sure you vote. That's our biggest weapon, and we just hope that we can continue to have free elections without,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that it's important for the members to participate in their union, to go to the meetings, to meet their agents, to be involved in the political process. The good news is that public support for unions is higher than it's ever been in decades. And why do you think that is, and what do you think that means for our union? Starbucks is getting organized. There's campaigns to organize Amazon. So unions are more in the public eye right now than they ever have been.
But you just look at the history, and no class, even school teachers, could not get money until they got a union to help them a little bit, or firemen, or police. The money people don't want to pay anybody if they can get out of it. And when you worked non-union, before there was unions started getting strong, you didn't even have good clothes a lot of times. Mm. And so they're just needed so bad to
raise the wage and the protections.
Yeah, and to fight the other side that's trying to destroy you.
If you don't have a union, you don't have a voice.
That's right.
Or a say
That-
in your
Yeah,
agreement,
one
your
person out
contract,
there
your wage.
screaming don't do any good.
Yeah.
Or don't do much good is 50 people standing on the side of the street screaming as it does to have that union backing you up. And they've got a little bit of money and they got a number of people to help. And so that's another way that the local sure help you. Not only local 3, but all of them, no matter who they represent. I like them all, but this is my favorite.
And why is it your favorite?
Well, I think we have the best contracts of anybody. I don't know anybody else that has that good of pensions or that good of insurance. And my insurance, I've been retired 25 years. They're still paying my insurance.
Which is a
know,
big deal anytime
and
you have a medical expense, right?
Oh, yeah. And, I learned that young at age too, because when I was just very young, I had a daughter that was born 3 months early. And I tell people, without my union insurance, I would probably still be paying for her.
And she's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. She's
because-
60 years old now. So. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners, right? So some of them come from the industry. Some of them are just regular people who don't know anything about unions. You offer a unique perspective because you've seen so much.
Yeah.
Anything to say, a closing thought on just unions in general or your career, what it's meant to you and your family?
Oh, well, you can see what it means to me and my family just by how well we live in and I think the whole country would be better if everybody had a pension, because if we don't, the taxpayers have to support those people. We can't let them starve to death. And if everybody was as lucky as me, we wouldn't have to be paying for all them other people.
Well, and there's a lot of poverty, for retirees. I mean, they're living
Yeah.
paycheck to paycheck. Social Security is
Yeah.
low. It's not a good way to close out that chapter of
No.
your life.
If we was as smart as we think we are sometimes, we would probably be saving when we was young men. But every
Nobody's
time I got a few bucks, I bought a boat or an airplane or something.
Well, you had fun.
Yeah, I did. I flew airplanes for years too.
Well, it sounds like
I even
you
had my.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I even got to be a certified flight instructor, but that was the worst thing I ever did because flying become work instead of fun.
Oh, well, you have led quite an interesting life then.
Yeah.
But life's been good.
Yeah, it has been. Knock on wood, I've been a lucky son of a gun. Yeah.
And now you're here visiting one of your sons who lives in the Sacramento
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
So you made the journey, and then you're going to stay with him.
Yeah, well, we spent the night with him last night, and he fell off a ladder working there at the house and busted his back, but he's doing better. He's doing better.
So are you gonna drive home after this, or are you gonna go?
Yeah, we're going to go home after this. We can't stay away very far.
You got all the things you want to do.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you agreeing to come out here and visit with us. We talked to a lot of staff members on the podcast, but you're the first retiree that we've ever interviewed, and so it's been a pleasure. Business manager Dan Redding actually mentioned you as somebody to bring in because he was really impressed with your knowledge and activism about the union.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, we talked about work as much as anything else when I was working. So
well, appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to add?
no, just go local 3. It's been good to me. I know that. And it's good to everybody, but I think you're lucky to have it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Dennis.